Take it in. Morning, friends. Hey, everybody's awake now, eh? Yeah. Some time. Yeah. We've got some curtains open here, so it's nice and light for you, so you guys can see. This is going to be an open hour, so I know we have Q&A at the end, but if you can't contain yourself, just go ahead and leave or say what you want. I'm going to start off with a bit of an example. So, Chris, can you hold the microphone for a second? That's a needle. So what was that? Insulin. Some of you don't know, I didn't know before I was diagnosed with diabetes. But insulin in this whole regimen is just balance. Every time I eat an apple, every time I drink a beer, every time I have pasta, I need to balance it with insulin, just like you. But your body does it for you. So when I was diagnosed, I was crazy, I was wild, I was young, I was free. And the doctor told me, now you are burdened with balance. For the rest of your life, every minute, every meal, every drink, you need to think about give and take, push and pull left and right. And you can't have a big buffet unless you bring your medicine with you. So that's kind of the, I don't know, the crowd getter. Who here has sweat today? Or let's say this week? Yeah? Okay. Sweat is what? It's balance, overheating. Getting the moisture out. Okay, we all do it. We all do it. So I'm here today not to tell you what to do, but to give you some tools to help you, understand for yourself what you've been doing, why you're on this ship, what you can do after this ship. You need to be aware of who you are, which many speakers have said, and I love that. I love that. You're on this Nomad cruise, and I've heard maybe 100 of you say, I don't like the term Nomad. I'm not a nomad, I'm a man, or whatever. Okay. I'm an accountant. Okay. We have identity. We want to feel good about being who we are. And if we go to bed and we weren't who we were or who we wanted to be, it feels bad. Okay? We all know that. So let's skip ahead. For me in this insulin, there's always a choice. I said I was burdened with balance. But if I decide I can leave my medicine at home, I can come on a cruise for 2 weeks and do anything I want. Huh? But the doctor said this will shorten my life, that my body will eat away at my retinas, my kidneys, my liver, until I'm dead. This is why you see many diabetics dying in their 50s and 60s. Because they've made choices. They've ignored the balance in their younger days. They've gone clubbing and left the medicine at home. Is this wrong? No, it's a choice. Some people would rather live one great year than 50 years hooked up to a machine. Is that wrong? No, it's a choice. Right? For me, I go back and forth. Sometimes I'm very on the ball. Other times I choose, this is the moment, this is my chance to shine. Right? You just saw Imka sitting in Peru, taking that photo. What if I had said, you have to lose a day at the end of your life to have that experience? She'd say, I take it. That's a good trade-off. That was a meaningful moment in February for me. So it's not about always do your medicine, always go to bed at 8 o'clock. It's about knowing yourself and making these choices. You try to find a middle zone, okay? For me, one night of fun equals 1 week of early death, or whatever you want to call it. That's my currency in life. It's how I choose to make choices. I have to look at, what am I giving, what am I getting? There's no right number, there's no target in the middle. You're not going to be an 81 and you're a 42, and I have to get more sleep so I can improve my score. No, it's not mathematics and science, it's feeling. And we all understand when we felt good in life, when we felt balanced, that that's nice, I want to hold on to this. Or at least I want to know how to get back here, right? I'm starting a new job in the summer, but I want to be able to get back here. I want to feel like this. Maybe not a ship called Zenith, right? But what am I really looking for here? Sorry, Evernote just popped up on my phone. All right, so in this talk, we're gonna ask some questions. How do we know when we've gone too far? What are the warning signs? What does science say? These aren't just my opinions. I actually did about a few minutes of research. What tools can we use to move us in and out of this zone of happiness? What are our options? Okay. And how do we know when we finally are in balance? Now, it has nothing to do with gender or various coursework at university and high school or your status in the sociodynamic spectrum. They've done research on all these things, and it doesn't matter. A rich girl from Norway, a poor boy from Colombia. For work-life balance, they react the same. I'm going to tell you a story. 2009, I had a regular job, sales job. I was making average money. I got to be outside, door-to-door salesman for office supplies. It's very exciting. Had a girlfriend, everything was pretty average, and I got a spam email. Right? Who does not like spam email? Just 2 people. I love spam email because if you don't like it, you delete it. But in this case, I did not delete it. I was offered a flight to Hong Kong, return ticket, very cheap. It was legit, and I was very excited about it. I started to have dreams of, what if I quit my job tomorrow and go to Hong Kong? Yeah, I've never been to Asia. Asia's big, you know? Okay. So I knew what I wanted, but I didn't really have the tools to get what I wanted. How can I tell my boss? Don't I have to give 2 weeks? Isn't that a rule somewhere in the movies or something? So what I did was I set up my computer and I said, okay, here's the flight details, here's my name, here's my passport number, and the mouse was hovering on the purchase, button right there. I was just waiting there. So I decided to play some music and open a bottle of vodka. And I just started thinking about Hong Kong, and I was like, the weather's better, the food, oh my gosh, I can't wait. And sure enough, within a few drinks, I was ready to slap that button, and I purchased a non-refundable ticket. So sometimes you have to just trust your instincts and know what's best for you, and just do it. So I fly to Hong Kong, great time, come back to Chicago, no job, right? Because I quit. So no problem, I'm the happy household husband, right? My girlfriend has a job, I wake up, I cook lunch for her and her colleagues, I take it to the office. Oh, he's the best, he's so sweet. She gets off work, I bought flowers for her, waiting when she gets home. Oh, you're the best. But after about 2 or 3 weeks of this, she's like, when are you gonna get a job? You lazy punk. I didn't want to get another office supply job, right? I was stubborn. I was like, I've done that. I don't want to go backwards. I want to go forwards. So what can I do? Well, I like dancing, right? Some of you might have seen me dance. So I go to a street in Chicago. I say, where can I dance? Long story short, I become a dancer. I make about $200 an hour when I was working. And I still have time to cook my girlfriend lunch and all that stuff. Now, sounds like a victory, right? Work a couple hours a week, make good money, still get to be the happy boyfriend. But as I fixed one aspect of my life, as I put one thing into balance, I threw off others. I had gone to Hong Kong. I had quenched that thirst. Now I was making plans to go back to Asia the next year. Things were moving in that direction. I was making money, but I'd cut my career off. My office supply sales career. But any kind of normal job you could put on a CV, I was gonna have a giant gap. You can't put male dancer. But I have a degree in finance. No, it doesn't make up for it, right? So, as some things were being fixed, other things were off. The girlfriend was upset with me. Now I couldn't go on dates because I had to go downtown and dance for strange people that we didn't know. So she wanted her old boyfriend back, you know, and it's like, ah. So you have to be aware. You have to be aware of these things. Had to be. Raise your hands if you've been in an airport in the last 2 weeks. Good. So when you get to the gate, right? After security, after the coffee and the toilets and everything, you're sitting at the gate, you're waiting. What do you see people doing at the gate? Just shout out, anything. Phone, computer, newspaper, eat, sleep, arguing with other people, drinking coffee, smiling. Now we're getting a bit closer to it. So they talk to each other. Good, good. I was sitting in an airport a few weeks ago, and with hundreds of people in the room like this, there was only one guy besides me doing absolutely nothing. He was in his 70s, and he had very comfortable shoes. And he was sitting across from me, and everybody was all busy, 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 right? If the headphones and the ears, right, if the battery went dead, they immediately had to find a book. Or, I'm gonna go complain to that guy. Why is the flight delayed? They have to be doing something, right? We have to distract ourselves in order to be happy. And it's good to live in the moment. It is, right? All the monks can't be wrong, right? I guess. But sometimes you just have to sit and do nothing. Just to do a little pause, right? It's like a computer. You turn it off, you turn it back on, it fixes everything. Do that with Right. There's plenty to think about if you sit and do nothing. You can think about changes, sacrifices. How can you keep what you like having, but also try to get things in the future that are worth getting? You got to spend time on trying to know yourself better. Ask some difficult questions. We like to think of ourselves as successes, or at least moral people. Of course I did the right thing. It was me. You know, if they didn't like it, it was their fault. They had no sense of humor, right? Oh no, they were just tired. We make excuses to make ourselves look better, which is fine in the moment. It keeps us going. But during those moments when you have time to think, ask some of these difficult questions. When I was, a few years later, I was struggling. I had no money. And in the great nation of the United States of America, medicine is hard to come by. No health insurance, I was struggling. My medicine was all out of balance. Too many apples, not enough needles. So I decided this life was crap, right? I'm going back to China. I had a good job in China, good life, and I wanted to study Chinese more, focus, you know, become bilingual and all these amazing sounding things. So again, I listened to myself, I flew to China, and I said, I'm not going to clubs, I'm not going to do all this peripheral stuff. I'm going to focus, and I'm going to learn this language. And I got a tutor, and I got a book, and I got a calligraphy set, and I got a small apartment with Chinese neighbors who didn't know me and didn't want me to be there. And for a few months I did it. I did great for myself. I was getting better at the language, I was communicating, and so what? I hadn't watched a football match in 3 months, or I hadn't gone on a date in 3 months, but that wasn't the goal at the time, right? Focusing on the language. Again, another spam email from Internations, right? Our friends at Internations, expats meeting in other countries and all that stuff. This time, one of the featured photos from a Shanghai meetup, which was about an hour and a half away from where I was living, had a picture of some boring-looking expats doing kung fu poses. And I said, wow, that's really interesting. Okay, Wing Chun Kung Fu is the style of kung fu there. And I said, wow, Wing Chun Kung Fu, wow, That's the kind of kung fu I'd always dreamt about doing. Right? I saw the films, I researched it, I looked it up on YouTube. You know, I was like, someday I'll be a Wing Chun Kung Fu practitioner. And here it was, staring at me in the email inbox. Hey, we're an hour and a half away doing Kung Fu. And I said, I want this. I want this. Like I wanted the flight to Hong Kong, I want this. But I can't drink vodka and learn Kung Fu. I have to use a different tool, right? So I called the guy in the picture. I said, are you the Kung Fu school guy? He said, yeah. I said, I want to work for you, and I want free Kung Fu lessons. And he said, no. I said, I'll see you Monday. And then he said, I'll pick you up at the train station. So there I was. I thought I was going to work for some kung fu school like in the movies, where you have like 1,000 soldiers in a square, and everybody's like, at the same time, and there's like a master up top who I just spoke to on the phone. No, it was him and his wife in a glorified apartment building with mirrors on the walls. Some slum in Puxi, Shanghai. So I was the third part of this little team, and we said, let's make this work, let's do this. So there I go, within 5 months, I'm some bum on the street, some white trash, out of work American with medical problems, looking for a handout, freezing his ass off in the winter. And 5 months later, I had satisfied my urge for the thirst of language knowledge. I had taken a chance and a giant salary cut to go work at this kung fu school, and I was waking up at 6 in the morning, putting my hair in a cute little ponytail and doing exercises for 2 hours. It's just amazing. It's fascinating. Next time I'm on the streets with no medicine, just think about what kind of martial art you're going to learn next. But this kind of brings me to an overall point. A lot of us like to define who we are. I'm not a nomad. I'm a location independent. Or I'm just a social guy, whatever. But I think for a lot of us, it's easier to define what we're not, rather than what we actually are. Well, I'm not a salesman. How do you make money? Through sales. I'm not this, I'm not that. Okay, fine. Don't worry about the labels. Just feel it. All right? Try to find this comfort zone. I'm going to talk to you a bit about warning signs. Not the Coldplay song, but we can do that later if you want. So, some of the stories I just told you, my warning signs were when I was collapsing in the streets with no medicine, when my girlfriend got angry because of my dancing job, and, you know, passing out all the time with all this medicine. Okay. You have these warning signs. But what does that lead to? It could lead to snapping, right? I've had enough. People get sick of things. They do wild things, crazy things. Right? Why do they snap? They're in a dissociative, altered state, says the internet. Right? They've completely disassociated with their reality. Right? They've let the pressure push them too far. But it doesn't have to be snapping. It could be boredom. Boredom could be a result of this work-life imbalance. Right? You have a cycle of passionless, dream-killing thoughts every day. Right? I want to take a cruise, it'll be beautiful. And then you look, it's so desolate, oh. And then you get to land, and I wish I was back on the ocean. Just this constant stream of negative thinking. Sudden unfulfillment. A lot of people think they're happy until they see something, like a woman with a dog, and for some reason it just crushes them. If we're fragile and we're weak, anything can knock us down and shatter us. Jealousy. Jealousy. Who's jealous of anything? What are you jealous of? What's something you're jealous of?
A six-pack.
A six-pack. Okay. Physical fitness. Physical fitness.
The way you speak.
The way I speak. Maybe I should work for a sex hotline? Is that what you're saying? Okay, I understand. So, anything else? Some kind of jealousy from the past or present? Money. You wish you were money. You want to be on the money. Oh, you want to have money. Okay. Okay, interesting. Here in my notes, I wrote, jealousy is tied with blindness, aggression, and low self-esteem. I'd like a six-pack. I'm 31, 31 years old, and I had a six-pack for a couple months in my life, back when I was 20. So, yeah, I know how to get one. I think we even have someone aboard the cruise who can help us get a six-pack. Am I correct? Was it Neil? No. There he is. Yeah, if you want to get a six-pack, he's right there. 28 days, if I'm not mistaken. So look, we have ways to get money. We have ways to get six-packs. You can go to whatever the modern version of Toastmasters is. You can do public speaking. We know how to get these things, but we still feel jealousy. Maybe we're blinded. We think, it's too difficult. I'd like to be a race car driver, but I don't know where to start, so I'm just going to sit here and be jealous. Right? All right. So we talked about warning signs. We talked about the going too far. Just a couple of personal sides. Had a job, ended up back in China another year, and wanted to work for this chemical company. We sold pesticides. I was the only non-Chinese the company had ever hired, and the only person who spoke English. So they sent me around with a team of people to farms in rural China. And again, these towns, there's no English. There's nothing. Right? You have little kids screaming their heads off because I scared them. All right. So, okay, it's great though. I'm getting a lot of work experience. I'm an international trade, whatever, consultant, manager, director, some fake title. Okay? But, again, I put one thing in the balance, everything else got thrown off. No personal connection. No peers. Nobody understood my sarcasm, my sense of humor, right? Nobody liked my sports teams. Nobody knew what it was like to go to my university or my high school. I was completely cut off. I started reaching at crazy things, like a girl I had met 2 years ago wrote me a text message, and I was like, wow, we're gonna get married. If she still thinks about me after 2 years, it's gonna happen. So I started writing. She spoke Chinese, and of course, 2 years later, my Chinese is much better. So I was showing off to her. I was like, oh, look at this, you know. And she was in a faraway city. Turns out with a faraway fiance, which I didn't know about. But I thought this was a real relationship. The pressure got to me. I started smoking again. I woke up early just to have a cigarette before my colleagues woke up. You know, like it's just not healthy stuff. Not healthy. Now, some science also said that we need social connections and true peers. That's the bedrock of our support. And we won't go crazy, or snap, or be bored, or jealous if we have these things. It also says it's good to have experience coping with problems, right? And being self-aware for us digital nomads is actually really helpful. Because I think no matter who we are, if we have a 9 to 5, or if we're completely free or whatever, this lifestyle, we all have a number of problems. Inexperience, people don't trust us. We have too many tattoos that I think a lot of our countrymen and women haven't had to deal with. So this is good. We're getting the practice we need to handle the problems in the future. I recently was living in the wonderful Pearl of Africa in Uganda. The reason I'm on this ship is because I met one of your crew members. Where is she? Ah, she's here, yeah. Stella here told me, I'm going on a Nomad cruise. It's this great thing. So I looked it up, and yeah, I'm here now. So What was I doing in Africa? Was I saving the children? Was I putting up solar panels? No. I worked for an Indian family who just tried to make lots of money. I worked every Saturday and some Sundays. We worked on Christmas. There was a weekend group of expats that would go kayaking and rock climbing and look at the sunrise and sleep with each other on top of mountains and all this glorified stuff. And I was never a part of that because I had to go to work. So they said, yeah, Monday through Friday sucks, but at least the weekend I get to be myself. I get to do this, I get to do that. I didn't have that. I was putting pressure on myself over and over and over again each week, right? I wasn't close to my family, I wasn't making money, I wasn't helping out my long-term career ambitions. Right? I felt stupid, I had no sense of direction. The Ugandan frustrations day to day were getting to me. I had no release, I had no peers. And I said, you know what? Stella here gave me this chance. There's 2 weeks on a ship. And I don't have 2 weeks off. We don't have holidays. So I said, okay, you know what? Again with the vodka. Set up the ticket, hover the mouse, click the button when you feel right. Non-refundable tickets. Conversely, it's not all about too much work. Huh?
Why did you choose to go to Uganda to study here in the first place?
Oh, why did I go to Uganda?
And to study here this job you don't plan.
Oh, why did I choose to go to Uganda and this Indian family and the job I didn't like? Good question. Mon ami. I was living in China. I met a Chinese girl. We had a nice time at the cafe. I asked her on a date for the weekend. She said she lives in Uganda and she's flying in the morning. Her friends were surprised when I arrived 3 months later with all my stuff. No place to live, no jobs. Yeah, I met the son of the owner of this company. I said, I'm desperate, I need to do something. Started working for him, kept the job for a couple of years. So yeah, you know, well, we can get more into that in the question and answer session. So it's not all about being overworked. Sometimes it's about being underworked. I was a student at the London School of Economics. They had this orientation week. I was in a program full of Americans, about 18 of us. And they had this orientation week, you know, get to know the rest of the world, right? Not everybody does the weird things that we do. I didn't know about this orientation week. I had just finished a program in Vienna, and I was having a great time in Barcelona on the beaches in the summertime. I knew when classes started, and my plan was to fly to London the night before, and then just kind of roll in, you know. So they have orientation week, and I show up that night before class, and everyone has their dorm rooms, and everybody has their little Oyster cards that are brand new and all these things. And I walk in the room, and I'm sweaty, and I'm carrying a big bag, and my hair's all messed up, and I was a legend. Right? They said, oh, you're the guy. You're the guy. I said, what guy? We've been talking about you all week. We go to a safety training. Oh, there's one person missing. Mr. Curtin? Is Mr. Curtin here? No, we don't know him. We never met him. Who's this guy? Your roommate's gonna be Mr. Curtin. Who? I get the room to myself all week because this guy never showed up? And the legend builds. Maybe he's not really, maybe it's the fake name, whatever. So finally I show up. No, I'm real, I'm here, I'm enrolled in classes, blah, 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 blah. And they were like, where were you? Tell us stories. Tell us all your stories about last week and why you weren't here. Okay. So I kind of started my studies there as with a bit of a big head. So when it came time to do the schoolwork, I was like, oh, I'm above this. No one cares what grades you got, they just care where you went. Right? Anybody here go to the same university as someone else? Surely, maybe someone. You guys went to the same university? Okay, what was the name of the university? Central Florida. The Knights? Yeah. Okay, so they went to the same university, Central Florida, and then I stopped asking questions. Right? I don't care what their GPA was. That's how we do it. So that's how I thought when I was younger. I said, I don't need to study. I'm going to school here. So that whole time in London, I loved it. I had my newspaper every morning, my coffee. I went to the clubs. I hung out with foreigners. I made friends with the kebab guys. It was a great time, great life. Now my roommate, she was very clever. She studied, ended up getting a master's degree from that school, got a Fulbright scholarship, worked for the UN in New York, and now she opened up her own little studio in Georgia, and she won the European Union Transparency in Journalism Award for 2015. And we lived together. We had the same opportunities, the same chances, we had the same professors. I was so unbalanced at LSE. I was way off, way off. But just like the six-pack abs, or just like the money, right? I didn't have peers. I didn't have anybody to talk to about me. I didn't have anyone to listen to about them. I was swirling out of control, like this damn boat sometimes. And just this, you're trying to stand still, but you don't know how to. You gotta grab onto something, you know? Grab onto that pole. Grab onto the pole. We need this every once in a while, don't we? Look at these chairs, they don't even move. These chairs don't move, do they? They're stuck there. All right. We got a break coming up, don't we? I'm going to give away a prize at some point, but I'm going to also have to talk about tools. Which one do you guys want to do first?
Prize.
Prize? Okay. I've got a prize here. This is the prize. I imported this from the United Kingdom. United Kingdom of Northern Ireland and Great Britain. This is a paper laser. It's a paper laser. It costs 75 pence retail. Okay? But I carried this around the UK for a week. And I bought many of these, and I gave them to people who needed them. To barmen, to people on the street, to a group of children in a tube. That sounds creepy. To a group of university students in the tube. And people always ask me, well, what is it? What can you do with it? What are its dimensions? What are its specifications? Is it the latest model? Does it have a celebrity endorsement? No, it's a paper laser. Okay? Does anyone know what a paper laser is? No? Does it look like a laser? Okay, so watch this. Chris, can you hold this for me? Yeah. It's just a wrapped up piece of paper on a straw. But it's so fun. Right, so the point is, this is super cheap. All of you can afford it. Everybody I talked to in the UK could afford one, but they didn't have one. And once they saw me having such a good time with it, they're like, hey man, what is that? Where'd you get that? And I was like, you know what, you can have this one. I got another one in my bag. Really? Yeah man, go ahead. I saw an old friend, I hadn't seen him in about 8 years. He brought his fiancée with him. She was a bit nervous to meet me, I guess, because he had told a few stories of how we had met back in the day. But by the end of our 2.5-hour lunch, she had 2 of these, one for her and one for her mother who lived up in Yorkshire. The point is that these little things of beauty, these little gems in the world, you're not going to find them in your daily to-do list. You're not going to find them on your chart of goals or your bucket list or, you know, in the celebrity section of the magazine. Like, no one cares about these things. Right? There's no money to be made. They're not sexy. But they're so fun. And if you know yourself, and if you say, you know what, having one of these could really having one of these could kind of lighten up my day. You know, you can point at stuff. A whale, there, yeah. You gotta know yourself, and you gotta, when you see something that's worth grabbing in life, whether it's a ticket to Hong Kong, or a paper laser, or a job that you've always thought you wanted to have, you know, don't do it for anyone else. And don't even do it for yourself. Just do it. Right? Just do it. So anyway, I'm giving away a paper laser. And I don't want you to tell me why you deserve it. I want someone else to tell me why a third person deserves it. So you've had a few days to get to know each other, right? Maybe you have some shared stories between you. So if somebody thinks, I want you to raise your hand and tell me who it is, and I'll give this to them right now. Do you want the microphone?
Yeah, come on.
That's your name, blood type, and bank account.
Carlene, A positive. I think Imke should get it because she did the talk before you, and she was really scared because you talked about it. You know, and you're doing it like this. You know, and she was really afraid. I think so. I spoke to her yesterday. She was really nervous about the English. And she did great. She stood there and she talked for like an hour. So I think she deserves it.
And it's, yeah.
And it's from England too. Perfect.
Right.
So here you go, my fellow talker. Congratulations.
Already happy.
If you're inspired, we can get the captain to turn the ship around, go back to London, we'll get some more. Alright, don't worry, almost done, almost done. Tools, we need some tools, right? I've talked about balance, warning signs, snapping when you get to the edge, holding on to something sturdy. That's what it says here. First of all, you've got to be responsible for yourself with regards to your opportunity costs. You have to look at everything as an opportunity cost. You came on the cruise, what else could you have done? Right? That determines your happiness. Right? Reality, expectations, and all that stuff. You gotta be honest about it. If you're not honest with that, the rest of it's just crap. It all depends on this. Take responsibility, be honest. Don't assume that attempts that you didn't make would have worked perfectly. Right? Oh, I came on this cruise. I could have hosted a thing. It would have been great. No. It might not have been great. It might have been terrible. You might have been a huge failure and a laughingstock. Okay? Don't assume all these ridiculous things. Just focus on the decision you made at the time and why you made it, and move on. So some tools. You can have physical spaces for yourself in life. Right? You can have a space to work. Some of you don't like working with the rest of us. You like go into your room or project a tent in the back. I want to work by myself. That's good. You got to find spaces for that. Some of you have spaces to relax and meditate. Some of you have spaces to do exercise. Right? Every morning I have to be in this place. I have to wear my red shorts that make me feel like Michael Jordan or something. That's good. It's good to have different places for different kind of mental states. You can have a cookbook. What? A cookbook. You can have a cookbook. Everybody says they want to cook more. I want to eat more vegetables. I want to be healthier. Okay. What can you cook? I don't know. Some things. So write it down. Make your own personal cookbook. These are the things I can make. When you meet friends, you can say, hey guys, here's my cookbook. Pick something. Let's make it together. okay? You can have a new drive. I think for those of you who took Derek's workshop, he said, go ahead, write 1,000 words a day. Come on, do it. There's all sorts of support groups out there for 500 words a day, la la la, this and that. You could say, I want to go cycling in the morning. But it doesn't all have to be so, positive. You could say, I want to try a new flavor of ice cream every month. I'm going to search the supermarkets for a new crazy flavor, right? Yeah, whatever you want. Give yourself a new drive, something new like that. Enlist friends to help monitor and motivate you, right? Call up your 2 best mates, be like, hey man, I want to get up tomorrow. Give me a call at 7 a.m. Make sure I'm up. No problem, buddy. Time yourself. Don't change anything you do, just time it. How long do you eat breakfast? How long do you search Facebook? How long do you take in the shower? How long does it take to walk to work? Just record it. Get to know your habits, get to know your routines. You'll surprise yourself. Screen time before bed. We've all read about the blue light that gets in our eyes and keeps us awake and all that. Find something productive and do that before bed that doesn't involve screens. Get a new job. Or ask someone for a new work environment, right? Have an honest conversation with your boss. Maybe the last one, my favorite, is organize your music. How many times do we have problems in life and we just say, there's that killer song, who does it by? I should have put it in a playlist. I should have brought it with, too bad I didn't. It's so rewarding to organize your music or your videos or whatever, and just allow yourself that moment that you crave so much, because you won't have time to do it when the moment comes. So do it now. You don't need the internet to organize your music. You guys have got to spend some time crossing long overdue things off your list. Not so much a bucket list, that's long term, but just some things that, call mom. When was the last time you talked to your mother? No, really, you. When was the last time you talked to your mother?
Last week.
Last week? Good God, that's fantastic. How is she? She's good. Is she jealous that you're here?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, all right. Making people jealous. All right. 2 more and then I'm done. I moved to the state of Kentucky. We have horse racing and bluegrass music. And I was looking for some Irish music. I like to hear Irish singing. So I went to a bar. They had live Irish music. But it was just a husband and wife playing by themselves. And everybody at the bar looked like you. They were sitting in rows, like this, with their beer on the ground, just observing the music, like it was some kind of weird, audition or something. And then at the end, they would give a polite clap. I was like, this isn't Irish music. Where's the feeling? Where's the voice? Right? So I said, I just moved here, but pardon me, where's the singing? Oh, we don't have a singer. I was like, well, I know this song. Oh, you can join in. So I was like, all right, give me the microphone. I get up there, I sing the first song. And the accordion player says, do you know this one? Yes. Oh, we'll do another song, and then we'll do another song. And I ended up singing in an Irish band every week. So sometimes if you want to hear music, you have to be willing to make the music yourself. It'd be great if I had the Clancy brothers up there at my own disposal. It's just not reality. Right. Irish music. Who here has talked to their mother in the past week? No. Who here has a close friend that's not on the ship, and you've had a conversation with that friend about the Nomad cruise? Very good, very good. It's fun to share things, with the people we care about. They probably want to know why you're here, or why you're not answering their emails for 2 weeks, or something like that. So, too many times we go to friends when we need something. But I read a fascinating blurb. It said, next time you have nothing to do, you find 2 or 3 minutes to yourself, Just call up a random friend and say, hey, what can I do for you? Do you need anything right now? Finally, I was talking this morning to some lovely Viennese folks. And when I lived in Vienna, I had this great idea, like, oh, I'm gonna study in Europe. It's gonna be Europe, it's gonna be awesome, man. When I was a young American, I was like talking like this, and I was like, Europe! Begins and ends with an E, how cool is that, right? It's a great word. So I went to Europe, and it wasn't really what I expected. I mean, you know, women weren't throwing themselves at my feet. Things cost money. I was like, what? What's going on? But after a couple months of that, I said, okay, I can stay here and be unhappy and be like, oh, Europe's not fair. Or I can decide, you know, what can I do? What do I want? If Europe isn't what I thought it was, where can I go? Another spam email. Flew to Turkey, never been there. Met some people on the flight. I bought their visas for them because they didn't have cash. In return, they put me up for a few nights at their place. Long story short, stayed in the Balkans for a month. Next month, went to the Baltic for a month. Had a great time in Europe. Looks like we only have a few minutes left together. Anybody who wants to stay? We should all call our mothers right now. All right, I'm going to read this last paragraph here. When we were inbound, oh, the milk story. Oh, sorry, I lied. I do have one more. So I'm in the Balkans. I flew to Turkey. I'm with my girlfriend. We're taking the train around the Balkans. I have our passports, and she has a mobile phone with a Serbian SIM card. So we're in Belgrade, and we're just walking around. You know, we get into an argument about milk. Now she was Italian, and I was American, and she was like, "Oh, French milk is so good. French milk is the best milk. I only drink French milk." I'm like, "What are you talking about? French milk?" Like, yeah, it's okay. You know, you put it in my coffee, but I'm not gonna drink it by itself. You gotta go to America, get some big old fat Wisconsin cows, drink that whole milk, 4%. Right? Whole milk in Africa is 3.5%. What's that? Whole milk in America, 4%. The fattest milk. You know, tastes like gravy and butter. It's amazing. So we have this conversation. It doesn't go well. She's very proud and stubborn, like, "Ah, you stupid American. French milk is delicate and blah blah blah." All these things. So she storms off in the middle of the city. We get mad at each other. It's our first big fight. And then I'm like, well, wait a minute. I have her passport. I don't have any money. She has the money.
Señoras y señores pasajeros, muy buenas tardes. Su equipo de animación quiere invitarle a nuestro fantástico juego.
So anyway, yeah, no passport, no money, no nothing. So be careful.
No, you got the passport.
I got the passports. So I just sat on that bench for 4.5 hours because it's the only place she might come back to. And it all worked out in the end. I'm not in Serbia anymore, obviously. We both got out. But I'll conclude with clarity. You just have to be clear about these things, clear about yourself. And we've all taken flights, and they always tell us, when the oxygen masks fall down, do what? Put yours on first, and then help the person next to you, right? Because you're no good to us dead, right? You're no good to us unbalanced. If you're a topsy-turvy wild mess, right? Nobody wants to hire you. Nobody wants to associate with you. Nobody wants to be seen in the same room with you. And trust me, I know how that feels. Right? So get your stuff together, all right? And this is a great room of people. This room of resources here. Don't be afraid. You have it. Okay. Oh, I've seen this guy around. I've never talked to him. Okay, talk to him. All right? already. Because when we get off this ship, and we stop seeing the same folks every day, and we start to have, local taxi drivers and internet news and everything comes flooding back into our lives, we're not gonna have time. We're not gonna have time anymore. So take this opportunity that Johannes has created for all of us, and that Lena is helping us with every day. Take this opportunity, take their efforts, and use it. And don't be afraid to ask me, or my friends, or my new friends, anything. Huh? So let's get this thing going. And thank you very much for your attention. And don't forget, bingo on the 11th deck. I've been told we have a question and answer session. If you guys want to ask any question. Yes.
Have you decided what's next after the Nomad cruise?
Have I decided what's next after the Nomad cruise? Yes. I'm leaving on the 23rd, maybe. I think my flight's 2 hours after we land. So if anybody has an extra cot, I'm going to see my dad on Christmas for the first time in 6 years, so he's pretty psyched about that. I've got a job in Beijing in August set up, but until August...
Well, I sent you a spam.
yeah. Good. Questions? No questions. Question in the back. No, it's never refundable. It's no fun. That's right. Yeah, non-refundable.
Do you count vodka bottles as tools?
Do I count vodka bottles as tools? Yeah, I mean, okay, I don't think it's been vodka the last couple times, but I get your points, yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I like to look at things in the world as how can I use them, or how do I see them, not what are they called. So Wikipedia says, this is a coffee cup, right? It's porcelain, okay. For me, I call it like a soldier hat, because I used to have soldiers and I'd put coffee cups on their heads and they'd march around my room. So I'm like, oh, you got a soldier hat full of cappuccino. He's like, what are you talking about, man? And I'm like, hey, that's the world I live in, okay? So when I see a vodka bottle, maybe I see a trip to Egypt. Or, whatever. Oh, I signed up for grad school in Missouri. Okay, thanks, vodka. So yeah, I do see them as tools. I see vodka on the ship as a tool to maybe nowhere, right? Like, if I get drunk tonight, tomorrow's gonna be the same as today. So, not as useful. Come on, anyway.
Do you feel your life is in balance right now?
Do I feel my life is in balance right now? You mean like right now? No, I don't. I am not preaching from the top right now. I am struggling. I am fighting. I am trying to make things work. So maybe some of you guys can help me put it into perspective. Come tell me I'm an ass or something. Whatever. Like, if you want to help me get my life back on balance, I welcome it. I'm in room 5109. Just slip a note. Say, I hate you. Okay, fine. But yeah, no, I welcome it. I'm not in balance, but I do know my tools. And so every day, for example, Derek's suggestion of writing, I was like, oh, I don't want to write all that. I'm on a cruise. I want to do other things. But then I realized, what are we doing? We got bingo? Is that it? So I started writing, and now that I'm writing, I'm using it as a tool to kind of focus myself, and even if I get off topic, I just keep going. So yeah, I'm not in balance, but I'm getting there. Last question, one more, and then we eat lunch.